Facing the News.
Thank you, Ray.
Now, you're a pizza flipper.
That's right.
And where do you do your flipping?
I work at the Circular Food Restaurant on 42nd Street
In New York?
in New York City.
Are you from New York?
No, oddly enough, I'm from Menlo Park, New Jersey.
Menlo Park, New Jersey. Gee, isn't that the home of Thomas A. Edison, the Wizard of Menlo Park?
That's right. You see, in his earlier years, he wasn't known as a wizard.
Oh, well, I guess you have to do a lot to be known as a wizard.
That's why you don't see many young wizards around these days.
He's a Garden State genius, all right.
Oh, yeah.
Well, just his work on the movie camera would qualify him for that.
I would think so. And then you take the incandescent lamp and some of the other things he invented.
Yeah, he was a New Jersey great. An Ohio product, but a New Jersey great. Well, where did you learn your pizza flipping?
Well, I don't know whether you remember this, but my uncle was Joseph Hanover, famous pizza flipper.
Joseph Hanover? Why, when I was a kid, I used to sneak into the old Rococo restaurant there.
Rococo, that's where he used to work, yeah?
Yeah, I'd sneak in there and watch him work. He used to stand in the middle of that big room and flip pizzas 30, 40 feet high.
That's right.
Whatever happened to your uncle?
Well, his eyes got bad, and the stuff he was flipping into the air began to land on the patrons, and from there all was downhill, you know.
Well, I'm glad I caught him in his prime.
Well, you were luckier than I was. I never saw him much, but I was there on his closing night, a proud, defiant man.
Yeah. Hey, look, if you find this difficult to talk about...
No. I think talking about this is good for one. Get it off your chest, you know. I haven't spoken about Uncle Joseph for quite a long while.
You know what I remember about your uncle?
No.
He had those classic Grecian features and gnarled hands and kind of an ageless kind of dignity.
Oh, yeah. Well, I think you'd say the man was touched by greatness.
Yeah.
Without
He had the deep, rich quality of burnished brass. You know, he was a friend of Jack Palance in those days.
You know, I've heard that, and I was never quite sure if that was true.
Yeah, he met Jack right after he finished the definitive textbook he wrote on pizza flipping, Making Dough by Tossing Dough.
Making dough by tossing dough. That was my Bible, you know.
Sure.
Now, I've heard that business about him and Jack Palance, but I wasn't able to prove it anyway.
You know, there's a picture of your uncle and Jack Palance in a barber shop in the Times Square area, I think on 44th
kidding.
Street. Look it up. You'll see it
I
there.
will, as soon as I get back from Facing the News.
Yeah. Say, is there or has there been any drastic changes in pizza flipping since your uncle's time?
Well, yes, we don't throw them as high as we used to. There are too many pizza snatchers around.
Now, a pizza snatcher is a person who grabs a descending pizza before it lands.
That's right.
And runs off with it without paying.
That's right. Nowadays, if you throw them up 2 feet, you have to elbow your way in there because they grab them right away from you.
You know, I've never understood why anybody would want an uncooked pizza crust.
I haven't either. I think they do it more for the sport than the nourishment.
Well, you know, the time has slipped by on us here, Clifton.
That's
we
all
spent
right.
so much talking about your uncle and Jack Palance,
Oh, it's been a
Thomas
pleasure.
Edison,
Yeah.
and incandescent bulbs, movie cameras. The time slipped away.
Well, maybe I could come back.
I was hoping you'd give us a demonstration of fancy and comedy flipping, but I guess
I was prepared to do that.
maybe some other time.
All right.
Well, thank you very much. Now, do you feel any different now that you've been on Facing the News?
Not too much. I probably would feel a lot different if my uncle had been Thomas A. Edison rather than Joseph Hanover.
Okay, Johnny. I'm sure you would.
All right, friends. My next guests, Bob Elliott and Ray Goulding, always step up their search for victims of hard luck.
The victim of hard luck that we're going to chat with tonight is Mr. Harold Pertwee, who by profession is a glassblower, and he hails from Seekonk, Massachusetts. It's a sad story he has to tell, and let's bring him out now and find out all about it. Harold? Where is Seekonk, by the way?
Do you know where Rehoboth is?
No.
Well, it's right next to it.
All right. Harold, I understand that the hard luck that has befallen you began way back in September. You were found on the line waiting to come in here, is that right?
Well, yes. Do you want me to start at the very beginning
if
of
you
my
would.
hard luck story? It was Labor Day weekend,
Labor Day,
and we were drinking.
Right.
And I got to thinking about the big tree they have at Rockefeller Center there in New York.
yeah.
And I said, well, to myself, that is, why don't I go on out and cut a tree?
You weren't going to try to sell a tree to Radio City, were you?
No, I knew they had a big tree,
Wait,
but I said,
contract for that a year ahead.
yeah, well,
40, 50 feet tall. It's
Sure
not-
they do.
How tall is this? About 4.5 feet?
4.5 feet. So
What were you?
I knew they had that big tree in New York.
So you
And I
ruled
thought-
that up.
And I thought I could go out to California, sell it to NBC. I knew they had a building out there, not as tall,
No.
but, spread out a little bit.
Right.
And I thought a tree this size probably would fit in out here nicely.
So you decided to ship the tree west and hop on a plane and come out here and
No,
try your
I,
luck with NBC to see if they would use it to decorate their studios, much the
No.
way they do
No,
in New
you
York.
know, the bus people have these tickets you can buy. You go 2 or 3 weeks, and you can take time off and go here, there, and everywhere.
Oh yeah.
And
sure.
I thought I could get off and go to Dodge City, maybe Yellowstone Park, and
Now this is still the beginning of September, right? Right after Labor Day.
the Monday, the following Monday, a week
Right.
after Labor Day.
Well, did you spray this with preservative and tie it up and
Spray it with what?
stuff to keep it from getting the way it is now?
This
You know,
is,
they
this is
have that stuff. They have stuff that keeps it green, keeps
this,
it.
this is a tree, and
what's left of one.
I didn't know anything about spraying or anything. The bus driver made me put it on my lap. I couldn't even put it on the seat beside me, all the way across the country.
That must have been something. And then you stopped at all these places on the way, and you still had the tree with you.
In and out. I wouldn't let it out of my sight. I mean, this was going to pay for my trip. So, some of these doors are narrow on the buses.
Oh yeah, I know.
And I'd go in the wrong way with them, It would bust up.
I can picture you going. You say you stopped at Dodge City.
To Yellowstone, went down to
I can picture
Tombstone.
you going into a bar in Dodge City with that. And,
Well, I tell
Must
you,
have some peculiar
somebody
looks.
tried to steal it there in
Did
one
they
of those
really?
bar rooms. The buses make a lot of stars.
yeah, sure they do.
But I was on the line, and I come out here to NBC, and I said, where do I go to sell this tree?
Who did you speak to about that?
Some young fellow with a uniform on,
Well,
very...
it's one of the guides or something.
yeah, he told me to go chase myself.
Uh-huh. You didn't get to anybody at the executive level, so you could.
And
make
I
a
was
deal.
then, after he told me to go chase myself, that somebody came over and said they were a scout for the Bob and Ray, and
Hard luck stories.
would I want to go on the air and tell my story.
Well, it certainly has been one. It's a sad story. We're all moved and touched by it, as you can see from the reaction of the audience. And I do hope that you have some better luck on your return trip. You'll have to.
Well, look, before you get out all those towels and everything for
Well,
weeping,
Sad story.
you play cards?
Uh-huh.
You heard about an ace in a hole?
Sure.
Well, I got
You
an ace
mean-
in a hole right back here.
You got it with you?
Yeah,
It's going to save everything?
you bet.
Would you go get it?
Sure.
This is wonderful. We may actually have a happy ending to a story that, well, it looked as if it was a pretty sad one up until this point. Harold? Harold Pertwee? What is that? What is that?
These are, this is my ace in a hole.
It looks like Christmas tree ornaments.
These are all hand-decorated, hand-blown
You made
crystal.
You're a glass blower, right?
Right.
I forgot that.
I had 2 dozen in here.
2 dozen.
Cheapest one sells for $1,500.
Wow. Oh, you.
This is piece that cost $28.80. That's the top of the line.
Oh.
And
And you had 2 dozen. That's almost $30,000 worth. What happened to it?
A whole ball of wax.
What happened back there?
And Mick Mayer was running around to do a commercial. He stepped in it.
Well, I don't know what you can do with them now. It is a sad story. You don't even have the money to get home, but we do want to let you go away here with a little something. We don't want you to go home
Thank you, Bob Ray.
empty-handed. And from our generous Bob and Ray organization, we want you to have this, sir. It's a lifetime folding slide ruler, and certainly will come in handy whenever you may have to... The hinges on that are particularly strong, and you've broken it already, I know it. Harold Pertwee, there's a little message from Bob and Ray on there that I think you might like to read to everyone.
Made in Taiwan.
No. Further up.
Oh, a small measure of our gratitude for coming on our program and telling your sad story, Bob and Ray.
Right, that's what it says, and all the luck in the world, Harold. Thank you.
I haven't had an opportunity to meet and talk with our next guest here. So would you tell us your name and where you're from, sir?
Harlow P. Whitcomb from Glens Falls,
New York? Glens Falls, New York?
New York. I am president and recording
Secretary, right? Recording secretary?
secretary of the S.T.O.A.
What does that stand for?
The slow talkers of
America, right? America.
America. We believe in forming our thoughts, ideas, opinions thoroughly
Before speaking, so you'll never be misunderstood, right?
before uttering them,
So you'll never be misunderstood.
so that we will never be misunderstood. We are here in Los Angeles attending our annual
Convention, your annual convention, right? You're here for an annual convention.
membership
Meeting.
convention. All 250
Members.
7
Members.
members are here talking
Slowly. All talking slowly.
as opposed to the members of the F.
T-O-A.
T.
O-A.
O.
Hey.
The fast
Talkers of America.
talkers
Of
of
America.
America. We have a credo
Which each new member must learn.
which each
I
new
can't
member Next, Mary Backstage, Noble Wife. The story of America's favorite family of the Footlights and of their fight for security and happiness against the concrete heart of Broadway. Just as things at the House of Toast seemed to be running smoothly, Mary, Harry, Pop, and Calvin were shanghaied by Captain Wolf Larson aboard his pirate ship, the Rita B. Now, nearly 24 hours at sea, The captain calls for all hands on deck as we hear.
Now then, I want you all to listen and listen real hard. I'm handing out some chores today to my new crew members. Now then, you, Mrs. Backstage, you're handy with a paintbrusher here.
Mary's a very good painter, Captain Larson.
I've done, kitchens and bedrooms, things like that. Very good. Then, you're just the one we want to get up there and paint the crow's nest.
Why, that's a good 100 feet in the air, Captain Larson, up that mast.
How do I get up there? Why, you climb up, ma'am. See, there's a rope ladder there. You just scoot right up till you get to the crow's nest.
Well, Captain Larson, Mary's always been afraid of heights. I don't know whether she could climb that rope ladder with a
I always
bucket
get
of paint.
a little dizzy on a step ladder. Never mind climbing up a rope ladder to the crow's nest.
I'll volunteer for it, Captain Larson.
No, I don't want no volunteers around here. When I want volunteers, I'll certainly be asking for volunteers.
Better be quiet, Pop.
Why?
You all right, Pop?
Yeah, I'm okay.
Anybody else want to volunteer to paint the crow's nest?
No, I guess Mary's got the job, Captain
I
Larson.
don't think I want to do it. Have you got any assignments for me?
Yeah, now I want you to go below to the galley and report to the good cook down there and tell him that you're ready for work. Hard work.
Yes, sir.
How about me, Captain Larson? Maybe
No,
you'd like the
then.
deck scraped or something.
No, I have something better for you now, Backstage.
Oh,
the
good.
bilges need to be pumped,
The bilges.
aired, and then painted a seagoing gray.
Now, where would they be, Captain Larson? Which direction?
Well, Blacktooth will show you to the bilge a little bit later. When I count 3, you're all gonna hot to your job anyway.
Now then, let me see. I'm going to go to the galley.
I'm going to go to the crow's nest.
I'm going to be shown to the bilges.
What's Pop going to do?
Yeah, what am I going to do?
You're going to go to the galley, too. You and Calvin here are going to work with the good cook down there.
Hey, I think we got a pretty good assignment, Calvin. Sorry about the bilges, Harry.
Oh, well,
Funny
they're not
that-
that bad.
Funny that they would go below decks or to the kitchen or galley, whatever they call it, and he gives me this awful job of climbing up 100 and some odd feet on a, well, it doesn't
Well, I guess
seem right.
he thinks it's an easy job, Mary, so better make the best of it.
All right, now, you all got your assignments, ain't you?
Yep, we do.
All right. When I count 3, move. What?
And so Captain Larson hands out the assignments to our friends, and Mary begins to climb the rope ladder to the crow's nest. You'll want to be here next time when we'll hear Calvin say,
Would you pass the salt, please?
that's in the next exciting episode of Mary Backstage Noble Wife. Word Carr speaking.
I'm Jeffrey Lyons. If, like me, you grew up loving the comedy of Bob and Ray, and you've laughed at their insane bits, their dry wit, and their ability to poke fun at some of the absurdities of everyday life and some pompous people we all know. But never before has it been possible to see the great Bob and Ray, Bob Elliott and Ray Goulding, at work, about to tape a promo and then recording one of their most famous bits, Wally, or as he's called, Lee Ballou, interviewing a man on the street. An award-winning film by Bob and Ray will take you right there to their famous studios in the Gray Bar building on Lexington Avenue as they create comedy magic. So if the names Mary Backstage Noble Wife, Mr. Trace, Keener Than Most People, Tippy the Wonder Dog, the McBeebe Twins, and Calvin Hoogerman, among hundreds they created over the years, evoke a unique form of comedic delight, then you're in for a treat. So here they are, probably for their home radio station, WFMF and WFMF-FM, Bob Elliott and Ray Goulding. Funny forever.
Gosh, those tax examiners are sure persistent.
What was 24 across?
Huh?
What was 24 across?
24 across? I haven't gotten to that yet. Oh, There is no 24 across.
Right.
Oh, another trick question, eh? Yeah, it's all right. You know, I see in the paper that you can eat groundhogs.
I just discovered I don't even have a puzzle in front of me. You can eat them, yeah. Had a good recipe come in this morning in the mail.
Groundhogs, the woodchuck family, or what?
I guess so. Never been a favorite of mine.
Well, it's as good as shepherd's pie, which you always eat.
No, there's a big difference. A big difference.
That's a very interesting letter from a lady in Des Moines. Send along Dr. Garvey's groundhog recipe. I thought that was the corn state. Well, back to work. Vinegar Ben Mizell is going to run for Congress. Does Vinegar Ben Mizell mean anything to anybody?
Who is
You
he?
remember him?
Who is he?
He was a pitcher for the Mets
Oh, yeah.
and the Cardinals, Pirates. That's about all, I guess.
And he's going to run for Congress, huh?
Richard Nixon is going to seek the presidency, I read.
No. What do you mean? Is that in the paper?
Yeah.
I missed that story.
You want to see something funny? Look out your window. The Viet Cong are down there.
Yeah. Uh-huh. You do the word game this morning?
I never do the word games. I just do the crossword puzzle. Well, guess it's time to order lunch. Hey, Bob?
Huh?
Why don't we go do the promotion things for Canada?
Okay.
Yeah?
I'm gonna get a frog anyway.
Yeah.
Vic, what do we have to do?
How many of these spots do we have?
I think we have to do 3.
Where is it, Halifax?
Yeah.
How long should these things be?
Oh, around a minute.
Does that mustache bother you at all?
Bothers us.
Sure does.
Have you got a street man?
You look like David Merrick.
Well, just use towns. Middle Sackville's a good one.
That's a
What is it?
suburb of Halifax.
Middle Sackville? Sackville? Where's
What's-
my glasses?
What's the station?
Right there.
CBH 860 on your dial.
Okay. All right. And it's
Do some Baloo things.
Halifax. It's nice up there in Halifax this time of the year, I'll bet, you know. Beautiful.
I custom place on
Where is Halifax? Is that New Brunswick?
Nova Scotia.
Nova Scotia. I should know.
Minutes, huh?
Yeah, you'll have traffic sounds in the background, and you'll be on Main Street in
Okay.
Halifax.
Wally Baloo.
Needs a minute, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
We're close. It doesn't have to be exact.
All right. Well, I suppose we can do it. Gil, you set?
Traffic?
Roll it.
This is radio's highly regarded Wally Ballou on the main street here in Halifax with my portable microphone ready to interview people who have just learned today that Bob and Ray will be heard here in Halifax on station CBH beginning in about 2 weeks. Sir, could I speak with you?
Yeah.
Where are you from?
Somerset, Kentucky.
You're certainly a long way from home, aren't you, sir?
Yes, I am.
What do you
I'm up-
think of
I'm
this
up
part?
here. I'm up buying clam futures.
Have you had much chance to look around Halifax? And
I get here once or twice a year. It's old hat to me.
I suppose so.
The place really swings. Of course, it's a lot bigger than Somerset, Kentucky.
Is Clam
To me,
Harbor?
it's like going to New York coming to Halifax.
Imagine.
It is, really.
Is
It
Clam-
shows you what kind of a life I have back in Somerset.
Is Clam Harbor a good place to buy these clam
Oh, yeah.
futures? or-
Yes, very nice.
Well, you've heard the news about Bob and Ray.
Who
What
are
do
they
you think?
anyway? I've never heard of them.
They're on the radio every
Oh.
day on CBH, late afternoon, 860 on your dial, whenever you're here.
Uh-huh. We don't have any stations like that in Somerset.
Okay, Gil?
Here's a minute. I don't know.
Today.
Is it really? Shall we play it back and see if it was okay? See what it sounds like. No, we can't.
Same background.
Do a lady this time?
Do a lady? I
Voice
can't do it.
hoarse?
Get me a frog in my voice.
Oh, we can get an old gentleman.
Yeah, all right. Fine. Or a kid.
Here's a little fella here. Do you like to listen to the radio, son?
Oh, yeah.
How old are you?
What? I'm 35.
Boy, you're only about 3.5 feet tall. I didn't mean to
Well,
make that
I don't
mistake.
make any reference to your physical appearance.
Right. If you live here in Halifax or in
Yes.
the suburbs?
You know, I live here in Halifax. I was born in Belchville.
Well, we are very pleased that we're going to be coming to Halifax and presenting the Bob and Ray Show.
Oh, we're all excited about it out our way.
What do you think is the biggest thing about the program?
Oh, Bob and Ray are terrific. What time will it be on?
It's going to be on late afternoon between 4 and 6, CBH.
Hey, incidentally, you didn't see a guy from Somerset, Kentucky around here, did you? He
Yes.
stole my wallet.
And now, Chocolate Cookies with White Stuff in Between presents Matt Neffer, Boy Spot Welding King of the World. In today's episode, we find Matt in the foyer of his palatial old Victorian mansion as his lifelong friend Todd arrives, and we hear...
Oh, hello, Todd.
Hello, Matt. I came over as quickly as I could. I got your phone call this morning, and I knew you wanted to tell me something.
Well, I'm up for the award in spot welding, Todd.
Why, that's wonderful. For the third year in a row, Matt?
But I've been giving it some thought. I think that's a dead-end street, just spot welding all my life. I think I'll turn to something creative, something that will give me a deeper sense of fulfillment.
You mean like interpreting art in some way through
Yes.
spot welding?
Sculpture or something like that.
That is becoming quite popular, that type of thing, and if anyone could do it, you certainly could, Matt.
Todd?
Matt?
Todd,
Yes, Matt.
up here by the picture window in the den upstairs.
Yes. I'll be right up. Well, you've had the den redone, haven't you, Matt?
Yes. New carpeting.
Yeah, it certainly looks beautiful.
Oh!
What's
well,
that?
I wish I hit you better than
Watch
that.
what you're doing right there.
People in the
I
next
don't know,
apartment.
When it comes to cheapness, nobody
They
beats
just don't
you
seem
and
to
your
get along.
family. You're the
Oh, yeah.
cheapest people I've
It
ever
bothers
seen.
me.
Let me hear you say that again.
You
It just
and your
bugs
Frank
me.
are the cheapest
Isn't that
people
Matthew
I've
Mugg,
ever
the cat's
seen.
meat man that lives next door?
I have no idea, Todd.
Well,
Listen, it's very interesting. She holds her own pretty well. I've never seen him, but he didn't get away with too much on her.
No, he didn't seem as if he did. I don't know how you can get any work done with noise like that going on, Matt. It certainly takes your mind off anything
Todd?
important. Yes?
Todd?
Up here in the master bedroom, Matt.
Oh, I'll be right upstairs.
You all right, Matt?
Boy, that smarts when you skin your shin like that. I should carpet these stairs. Mother was always going to, but she put her money into booze and things like that.
How is Mother, incidentally, Matt?
I haven't seen her for weeks.
Matt?
Huh?
Up here in the butler's pantry.
Todd, who's giving you the permission to run riot over my home? I am the one who goes through my house, not you.
It's an antique Victorian mansion, Matt.
I know.
Built by your grandfather some 65, 80, 90 years ago. It was no antique when it was built. Are the two of you coming, Matt?
There's this chap with me. I don't know who he is. Sir?
Oh, he's the sound effect.
Oh, perfectly. Well, he has all the reason in the world to be with me. Now then, Todd, I want to show you something.
Behind this door, you mean?
Yes.
Probably the most disgusting thing I've ever seen. What are they doing in there?
I have no idea. Sleeping, apparently.
Obviously, but
But who are they?
who are they? Yes,
I don't know.
that's just about what I was going to say. To open a door and see a group of people either asleep or half asleep and not know who they are is certainly one strange thing. Matt? Oh, Matt? Matt? Matt, are you in the bar making a drink? salamander, preparing something to eat. Matt?
Todd?
Yes.
I'm scared.
That's plenty for me if you're making that for me.
That's for me.
Oh.
Will you have one?
Yes, I guess I will. I'm a little bit out of breath. I'm running upstairs, down.
I'm going to go join that group sleeping, Todd. Call me in the evening. Little after 7.
Right. And so, Todd leaves Matt's antique Victorian mansion for another day. But the elements of mystery seem to be growing, as well as Matt's interest in sculpture. What will happen next time? Be sure and join us when we'll hear Matt Neffer, boy spot welding king of the world, say,
Todd, the Girl Scout cookies have arrived.
Matt Neffer is directed by O. Leo Lane.
Sure, we just tighten up going into the closing scene.
I would think
Good
so.
for what?
How long
Holy
was it?
smokes, it's 7 minutes as it reads now, so you ought to cut that down to a brisk minute and 45 seconds. Challenge for the editor.
Okay.
How long do you want this to run, Al?
What does the whole thing run again? About 4
It
something?
runs about 4, but
Okay.
you can get about 3 minutes in. You can get out anytime you want.
Okay.
And still get the end of
Yeah,
it?
because all the main stuff comes in after a minute, and you can get out any place.
We got to do it now.
Oh, okay.
Sound ready?
Very tall.
Okay, go roll it.
Polly Ballou on the street here with my roving reporter microphone, asking passers-by various interesting things about themselves that may be interesting to you. How about you, sir?
Yes, hello, Mr. Ballou. I've listened to you on the radio for years and years. Congratulations.
On what?
Well, all those awards you've won and everything for diction and broadcasting.
Yes, well, I haven't won any recently, but...
I've noticed that. Is that because you're not working as much, or
that's
what?
probably as good a reason as any.
Uh-huh. Well, is this kind of a low period in your career?
I wouldn't put it that way, sir.
Kind of a gray area?
I didn't come out here to talk about me anyway. I wanted to
Well, listen,
talk to
buck
you.
up. There's no reason to be discouraged.
Oh, we all have
because
those,
you're in a, what they call a low period in your career.
Right.
You'll bounce back.
You told me, sir, just before I got you on the radio here, that this was your birthday.
That's right.
Mind me asking how old?
This year. Yes.
This year.
This will be my 9th birthday. I was born on February 29th, leap year.
Oh, I see.
1932.
Yeah, I bet people
And,
that way. So,
yeah,
so you
so,
really had only, this is your 9th birthday.
That makes me fairly unique. When I go to a party.
9 4 is 36. I'll bet you get a ragging for that, don't you?
Well, people, it always intrigues people to meet somebody who was born on leap year day, and they always say, well, when do you celebrate your birthday on the other years? Is it, March 1st
there is
or
no
February 28th or what?
Uh-huh.
And I say, well, something like
Excuse me.
the end of February, I say right up until early in March, it's kind of a celebration. But my parents, when I was a kid, they just arbitrarily gave me all my gifts and cards and everything on July 19th.
July 9th, that's as good a day as any.
Yeah, and it's, it's always okay with me.
Uh-huh.
But it is unique.
This your first trip to New York City? I didn't get your name.
No, I live out here in Queens.
Oh, I see.
My name, Warren Ashenfeld, and I live around here.
Now,
But,
so,
I've listened to you for so many years.
Oh, it's not as many as you think. Most people think I'm old. I am, really.
Well, I mean, of course, I'm not that old, just being 9.
Well, we're back to that again.
Whenever I pull that, people always just laugh and bend over.
Why do they do
funny,
that?
A fellow my size saying he's 9,
Uh-huh.
But, what's that, Claire? What'd he say?
Something about stand back against the wall or something. What do you do for a living, Mr. Ashenfelder?
I work right here in the city. I'm a clerk up in this, see this building right back of us here where all this fuss and whatever it is going on here. I work up on the 11th floor there. Hey!
Why don't you're telling somebody with a microphone to get off the street?
It's probably you. You're the one with a mic.
Well, I don't believe it's me. How long are you going to be in the city?
Well, you see, I go right down. I get the subway right here. Hey, where is this?
You get the subway right over here.
Right, go right down and home. Get him some coffee. Get me some, will you?
Oh, this is too confusing for me, sir.
See, the minute...
Mr. Captain speaking. We got the place
Wait, I
surrounded.
think the captain's...
Hi, Captain.
Not easy
about?
Come on with your hands up right now.
Something apparently is going on, ladies and gentlemen, and
We can only give
But then you say, well, that's it, folks. That's when I take off and go home.
Right, well, that's it, folks. And this is Wally on the spot, Baloo, always there when a story breaks. Returning it to our studio.
Story of the year.
Story of the year, it was.
Shall we try the Komodo dragon for a run through?
Hear me?
And when we do it, they said they'd have some blow-up pictures that you could put a pointer to.
Oh, yeah, okay. Professor Prentice, right?
Okay. I'll say, I guess, huh?
Yeah.
Well, good afternoon, excuse me, good morning, or good evening, depending on what time of day you're listening to this program. Hello, this is your interviewer talking with the Komodo dragon expert who's with us in our studio today. This is Professor... Oh, your name just slips me, sir.
Newman Prentice.
Professor Newman Prentice. I wonder, could you tell our listeners, what is a Komodo dragon?
The Komodo dragon is the world's largest living lizard. It's a ferocious carnivore found on the steep-sloped coast of Indonesia and nearby Rinju Padar and Flores.
I imagine, you see, as an interviewer, I try to ask the questions that I think the listeners would if they had the opportunity to talk to you. Is a dragon a lizard?
The Komodo dragon is the world's largest living lizard, yes. And one swipe of its tail can knock an enemy senseless. We have two in this country, a gift of Indonesia's former Premier Sukarno, and they're in the National Zoo in Washington.
The Komodo dragon then comes from Indonesia. I believe you said we had two in this country. Where would they be?
The two Komodo dragons in this country, a gift of former Premier Sukarno of Indonesia, are in our National Zoo in Washington, D.C.
Do they mate in captivity?
They haven't as yet.
The Komodo dragon that you speak of was a gift of some foreign potentate, I understand. I wonder, could you tell our listeners just who that was?
Former Premier Sukarno of Indonesia presented this country with two Komodo dragons, the only two in this country, the world's largest living lizards, and they're in the National Zoo in Washington, D.C.
They come from the slopes of some two huge islands out in the Indonesian archipelago, I think you said.
They come from nearby Rinju Padar and Flores and the steep-sloped coastline of Indonesia itself. One swipe of their tail, incidentally, is enough to knock an enemy senseless.
They're strong, then. They are the large lizard.
They're the largest living lizard and a ferocious carnivore.
And they eat other things, I gather. If you say that they're carnivorous, they eat other things and stuff, living things.
Anything that a ferocious carnivore would devour.
They certainly wouldn't make a pet.
Not at all.
The lizards that you speak of course, are in this country as a gift.
Two of them, yes.
And I imagine many of our listeners would, if they have the opportunity, like to go and see them. Where could they go to see them?
The two Komodo dragons in this country may be seen by any of your viewers who are interested at the National Zoo in Washington. Those two were a gift to us some years back from former Premier Sukarno of Indonesia.
I see. And that's where we could go to see them. And
where?
To the zoo.
In Washington, D.C., yes.
The Premier, Sukarno, of course, is not the Premier anymore.
He's a former Premier.
And he gave them to, was it to this country as a gift, or to the zoo, or...
He gave them to this country, and they were put in the National Zoo in Washington. Naturally, they couldn't just be let run around loose.
The Komodo dragon, then, is the natural enemy of a lot of other little critters that... how big is the Komodo dragon?
It's the largest of all of the living lizards, and mighty ferocious.
And as you said earlier, a swipe of their tail could knock you senseless.
Well, I'm not their enemy, but it would knock one of their enemies senseless.
Yes. Well,
there's one in the National Zoo in Washington if you want to see it.
There's how many?
One.
Oh,
one,
and they
the
eat
other
each
one,
other?
No, the other one died.
Well, I think I've asked all the questions I can think of, and I'm sure you've answered all the questions that I could think to ask you.
I've really enjoyed being here.
And there it is. You now, I'm sure, filled in on Komodo dragons, and suffice to say that they are a voracious
ferocious
carnivore.
Carnivore.
Thank you, Professor Smith.
Prentice.
Prentice, it's been a pleasure having you in our studio.
Smith is the expert on the sea otter.
Really?
Oh, this is Ray, and this is Bob. We hope you had a ball today. It was a ball to entertain you. So goodbye from Bob and Ray.
Here's your award, Bob and Ray.